Imagine you're playing with your favorite toy. Maybe it's a superhero action figure. Maybe it's a doll. Or maybe it's your favorite stuffed animal. Now, what if I told you that somewhere out there, in a place we can't see or touch, there's another kid just like you, playing with the exact same toy, but doing something completely different with it? What if I told you there might be millions, billions, or even infinite versions of you, all playing at the same time, each one making different choices? That's kind of what scientists think might be happening with our entire universe. They call it the multiverse, and it's probably the coolest, weirdest, most mind-blowing idea that grown-up scientists have ever come up with. And here's the really wild part. It might actually be real. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like something from a cartoon or a superhero movie. And you're absolutely right. Movies love talking about the multiverse. Spider-Man swings through different universes. Doctor Strange opens portals to other worlds. Even your favorite animated shows probably have episodes where characters meet other versions of themselves. But here's the thing that'll really blow your mind. Scientists didn't get this idea from movies. Movies got this idea from scientists. Real scientists with real labs and real math equations have been talking about the multiverse for almost 100 years. So why should you care about something that sounds so impossible? Well, imagine if every time you had to make a choice, like whether to have chocolate or vanilla ice cream, both choices actually happened, just in different universes. Somewhere out there, there's a version of you enjoying chocolate while you're eating vanilla. There's a version of you who became best friends with that kid you met at the park last summer. There's even a version of you who might be a famous movie star, or an astronaut, or a dinosaur trainer, if dinosaurs still existed in that universe. The multiverse isn't just about having fun imagining different versions of ourselves, though that is pretty cool. It's actually helping scientists answer some of the biggest questions we've ever asked. Questions like, why does our universe exist? Why are the rules of our universe perfect for life? Are we alone? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what else is out there? Before we can understand what a multiverse is, we need to understand what a universe. Island. Think of the universe like the biggest container ever. It holds everything, and I mean everything. Every star you see at night, every planet, including Earth, every person, every animal, every grain of sand on every beach, every drop of water in every ocean, and even all the empty space between everything. It's like the ultimate toy box that holds every toy that has ever existed or will ever exist. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Imagine you have a snow globe. Inside that snow globe is a little world with houses and trees and tiny people. That snow globe is complete. It has everything those tiny people would ever know about. But what if you had a whole shelf of snow globes? Each one would be its own complete little world. And the tiny people in one snow globe would never know about the tiny people in the other snow globes. That's kind of what scientists think might be happening with universes. Our universe might be like one snow globe. And there might be countless other snow globes, other universes, that we can't see or visit. Together, all these universes make up what we call the multiverse. Multi means many, so multiverse literally means many universes. But why would scientists think there's more than one universe? Well, it started when they were trying to solve puzzles about our own universe. You know how sometimes when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, you find a piece that almost fits, but not quite? Scientists kept finding puzzle pieces about how the universe works that almost fit together, but only made perfect sense if there were other universes too. One of the biggest reasons scientists think about the multiverse is something called the fine-tuning problem. Imagine you're baking cookies, and the recipe has to be exactly perfect. If you add even a tiny bit too much salt, the cookies taste terrible. If the oven is just a little too hot, they burn. Our universe is like that. Everything had to be exactly perfect for stars to form, for planets to exist, and for life to develop. The chances of everything being so perfect by accident are smaller than picking one specific grain of sand from all the beaches in the world while wearing a blindfold. So scientists thought, what if our universe isn't the only attempt? What if there are billions and billions of universes, each with slightly different recipes? Most of them would be disasters. No stars, no planets, no life. But a few, like ours, would get the recipe just right. It's like if you made 1,000,000 batches of cookies with slightly different recipes. Eventually, you'd get some perfect ones. Just like ice cream comes in different flavors, scientists have come up with different types of multiverses. And just like you might prefer chocolate while your friend likes strawberry, different scientists have their favorite multiverse theories. Let's explore the main flavors of multiverse that scientists talk about. The bubble universe multiverse. Imagine you're blowing bubbles in the bathtub. Each bubble is its own little sphere, floating around, sometimes bumping into other bubbles, sometimes popping, and new ones constantly being created. Some scientists think universes might be like these bubbles. Our universe is one bubble, and there are countless other bubble universes floating around, and something even bigger that we can't even imagine. This idea comes from something called eternal inflation. Think of it like a piece of popcorn popping. The kernel starts small, then suddenly, pop! It expands super fast. But what if the popcorn never stopped popping? What if parts of it kept expanding forever, creating new pieces of popcorn that then created more pieces? That's what might be happening with universes. New universes might be popping into existence all the time, each one expanding and growing into its own bubble. The quantum multiverse, the every choice happens universe. This one is really wild. You know how sometimes you have to make a choice? Like when your parent asks if you want to go to the park or stay home and watch TV? According to quantum physics, which is the science of really, really tiny things, both choices might actually happen, just in different universes. Every single time, anything in the universe has to choose what to do, which happens billions of times every second. The universe might split into different versions. In one universe, you went to the park. In another universe, you stayed home. In yet another universe, you asked to go to the ice cream shop instead. And it's not just your choices, it's every choice made by every particle in the universe, creating an almost infinite number of parallel universes. This means there could be a universe where dinosaurs never went extinct and they evolved to be super intelligent. There could be a universe where your parents never met, so you were never born. There could be a universe where everything is exactly the same, except your favorite color is different. The possibilities are literally endless. The mathematical multiverse. This one requires us to think about math in a weird way. You know how 2 plus 2 always equals 4? That's a mathematical truth. But what if every possible mathematical truth creates its own universe? What if whenever we write down an equation or discover a new mathematical pattern, we're not inventing it but discovering a universe that actually exists? Some scientists think that every possible mathematical structure exists as its own universe. Our universe follows certain mathematical rules, like how gravity works or how fast light travels. But there could be universes with completely different math, where 2 plus 2 equals 5, where circles are square, or where up is down and inside is outside. The mirror multiverse. Imagine looking in a mirror. You see yourself, but everything is flipped. Your right hand looks like it's your left hand. Some scientists think there might be mirror universes where everything is reversed. In our universe, most particles spin one way, but in a mirror universe, they'd spin the opposite way. It would be like a universe where everyone is left-handed instead of right-handed, but on a much deeper level affecting every single particle. Now here's the tricky part. If these other universes exist, how would we ever know? We can't exactly build a rocket ship and fly to another universe. We can't dig a hole deep enough to tunnel into one. So how do scientists look for evidence of something we might never be able to see directly? Looking for bruises in space. Remember the bubble universe idea? Well, if our universe is a bubble, and there are other bubble universes out there, what happens if two bubbles bump into each other? Scientists think it would leave a mark, kind of like a bruise. They look for these bruises in something called the cosmic microwave background, which is like baby pictures of our universe from when it was very, very young. Imagine you have a balloon and you draw dots all over it with a marker. If that balloon bumped into another balloon, some of those dots would get smushed or stretched in weird ways. Scientists use super powerful telescopes to look at the oldest light in the universe, searching for patterns that look smushed or stretched in ways that might mean our universe bumped into another one billions of years ago. The Goldilocks mystery. Scientists also look at how just right everything in our universe seems to be. It's like the story of Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. The force of gravity is just right for stars and planets to form. The way atoms stick together is just right for chemistry to work. The speed of light is just right for, well, everything. If you were playing a video game and had to adjust 100 different settings, and even changing one tiny bit would make the game impossible to play, you'd probably think someone designed it that way on purpose. But what if instead there were millions of copies of the game, each with random settings, and you just happened to be playing the one where all the settings worked? That's what the multiverse might be like. Quantum experiments. In science labs, researchers do experiments with tiny particles that seem to be in two places at once until someone looks at them. It's like if you had a toy that was both in your toy box and under your bed at the same time until you went to check. Then it would suddenly be in just one place. This weird behavior might be evidence that particles exist in multiple universes at once until something forces them to choose which universe to be in. Some scientists are trying to design experiments that could prove these particles really are in multiple universes. It's super complicated and involves lasers and mirrors and very cold temperatures, but the basic idea is to catch a particle being in two universes at the same time. Math that points to more. Sometimes, when scientists are doing math to understand our universe, they get answers that only make sense if there are other universes. It's like if you were counting your toys and somehow ended up with the number infinity. That wouldn't make sense unless you had access to infinite toys somehow, maybe in other universes. One famous example is something called string theory. Scientists trying to understand the tiniest building blocks of reality did a bunch of math and discovered their equations only worked if there were 11 dimensions, instead of the 3 dimensions of space plus 1 of time that we know about. Where are those extra dimensions? Maybe they're how different universes are separated from each other. So let's say the multiverse is real. Let's say there really are infinite or nearly infinite other universes out there. What does that mean for you? Living your life, going to school, playing with friends, and wondering what you'll be when you grow up. Every dream, everywhere. First of all, it means that somewhere out there, every dream you've ever had might be real. Want to be an astronaut? There's a universe where you are. Want to be a famous singer? There's a universe where you're on stage right now. Want to have a pet dragon? There's a universe where dragons are real and you have the coolest one. But here's the important part. It also means that the choices you make in this universe, our universe, really matter. Just because there might be a version of you that becomes a doctor doesn't mean you don't have to study. The you in this universe still has to work hard to achieve your dreams. The multiverse isn't an excuse to be lazy. It's a reminder that you have the potential to be anything. You're never really alone. Sometimes, when things are tough, it can help to think that somewhere out there, another version of you is going through the same thing and making it through. Failed a test? There's a version of you that studied harder and passed. But there's also a version that failed worse than you did. The point is, across all possible universes, you're experiencing everything it's possible to experience. You're never alone in your struggles or your triumphs. The ultimate video game. Think of reality like the ultimate video game, where every possible playthrough is happening at once. In some playthroughs, you're the hero. In others, you're the sidekick. In some, you're playing on easy mode, where everything goes right. In others, you're on super hard mode, where everything is a challenge. But every version is valid, every version is real if the multiverse exists, and every version is part of the bigger picture. Why we should care about science. The multiverse theory shows us something really important. The universe, or multiverse, is way weirder and way cooler than we ever imagined. 100 years ago, people thought our galaxy was the entire universe. Then we discovered there were billions of other galaxies. Now we're wondering if there are infinite other universes. What will we discover in another 100 years? This is why science is so important and so exciting. Every question we answer leads to 10 new questions. Every discovery shows us that reality is bigger, stranger, and more wonderful than we thought. The kid who's curious about how things work today might be the scientist who proves the multiverse exists tomorrow. The big questions. The multiverse makes us think about really big questions. If there are infinite universes, is there a version where everyone is happy all the time? Is there a version where nobody ever gets sick? Is there a version where your best friend is a talking cat? These aren't just silly questions. Thinking about them helps us understand what's possible and what's important. If every possible universe exists, what makes our universe special? Maybe nothing, and that's okay. Maybe we're just one snow globe among infinite snow globes. But we're the snow globe we live in, and that makes it special to us. It's like how your drawing might not be in a museum, but it's still special to your parents because you made it. The future of the multiverse. Right now, the multiverse is what scientists call a hypothesis, a really good guess based on math and observations, but not proven yet. Maybe in your lifetime, scientists will find proof that other universes exist. Maybe they'll invent a way to communicate with other universes. Maybe they'll even figure out how to visit them, though that's probably a long, long way off. Or maybe they'll prove the multiverse doesn't exist and our universe is the only one. That would be amazing too. It would mean our universe is even more special than we thought. Either way, the journey of trying to figure it out is teaching us incredible things about reality. The multiverse theory reminds us that the universe is full of mysteries waiting to be solved. It shows us that imagination and science go hand in hand. And most importantly, it tells us that in a reality where anything might be possible, the most amazing thing is that we're here, in this universe, able to wonder about it all. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember, you might be looking at just one universe among countless others. And somewhere out there, another version of you might be looking up at their stars, wondering the same thing. How cool is that?